There are two methods on how to start the main strings. Each method has its own advantages that we will cover at the end of this video. The cross strings are often tensioned a bit less than the main strings, but this comes down to personal preference. Here you can see the string tensions of a few pros. The second number is always the cross strings. The most important thing to remember is to start from the top and go to the throat of the racket. Each string puts a lot of tension on the frame. By stringing down, the pressure is distributed at the throat, the most stable part of your racket. If you string from throat to top, the pressure is right at this area and there is a chance that your racket can snap. If you string yonex or head rackets bottom up, you even void the warranty. Method 1. With this method we start with a starting knot. A starting knot can withstand direct tension and is therefore a bit bulkier. You wouldn't use this knot on the end because it's too bulky and not very elegant. Put the end of your string through the first hole of the cross string. Now, you can already weave the first cross. It doesn't matter if you go under or over the first main string. It also doesn't matter if you start on the left or right side. As you come through on the other side, put the end of the string through the tie-off hole. This hole is usually slightly bigger than the others and on some frames it is even marked. Here we tie our starting knot on the main string. If I use this method, I always use a standard starting knot. To do the starting knot, you have to go around your anchor string twice. Now that you have your two loops, grab the end of the string and from the racket end, take it through the two loops. To tighten the knot properly, you have to pull on both ends or it will come out a little bit rough. I use a starting clamp on this short side to get a better hold of the string. Now, as you pull on the long end of your string, the knot will slide flush to the grommet. It is now time to tension and clamp this first string. I normally tension it 10% more than the other strings to counteract the tension loss from the knot. Every string with a knot will lose tension more than the other strings. Make sure to cut off the remnant by the starting knot. It is now time to string the second cross string and pull all the string through. Quick tip, if you already weave the next string before tensioning the current string, weaving is much easier because every second main string is slightly lifted and you don't have to force the cross up and down as much. Now it's time to tension and clamp the second cross string. The start is now done and you can continue to string all the other cross strings. Remember to string the last cross 10% more because of the tension loss from the knot. On the last string you can use your favorite tie-off knot. I always use the Wilson Pro knot. Method 2. With this method, we are going to use a starting clamp. If you don't have one of these, then this method is not for you. I like to start by weaving the second cross first. It just makes it a bit faster as you don't have to pull all the string through. As you come through on the other side of the frame, turn around, go one hole up and weave now the first cross string. Leave the end of your string long enough to reach your tensioner. You use now the starting clamp on the outside of the frame to fix the string. I use this piece of leather as protection for the frame. I just cut it from a leftover leather grip. Now, you can pull tension on the second string and clamp it. Notice that the first cross string isn't tensioned yet. I don't start at the first string, because I don't want to tension it twice. Continue to weave and tension the third string. Remember to use the quick tip and weave one ahead. When you clamp the third string, it is now time to release the starting clamp. You shouldn't wait too long to release it, because it can crush the string from the pressure. Double check that you tension the third string and that your furthest clamp is opposite to your starting clamp. Because you have to move the clamp on the same side as the starting clamp. Take the tail and put tension on it. I use 10% more because of the knot. As the string has tension on it, remove the starting clamp and clamp it with your normal clamp. Before you continue to string the other crosses, you need to tie off the tail. I always use the Wilson Pro knot. Because we used a starting clamp, we don't need the starting knot. You are now done with the start and can continue to string all the other cross strings. Remember to string the last cross 10% more because of the tension loss from the knot. What method should I use? For each method are different pros and cons. I like to use method 2 with the starting clamp, but you have to decide by your own. If you start with a starting knot, you have these advantages. You don't need a starting clamp, obviously, and can save a few bucks. Although having one always comes in handy. You need less string because you don't have to reach the tension head on the first string. There is no potential of damaging your string by crushing it with the starting clamp. But there is also a big disadvantage with this method. If you string a hybrid with natural gut in the mains and polys in the crosses, you shouldn't use this method. With this method you can only tie a starting knot to a main string, but you should never tie off poly on natural gut. Now let's see the advantages if you use a starting clamp. There is no additional stress on the grommet from the knot. There is no danger of pulling a starting knot into the grommets and damaging them. There is no extra stress at an anchor string, which is important for hybrids as you can use the second cross to tie off. The knot is smaller and therefore more elegant. Whatever method you choose, try to be consistent and always use the same method if you string for other players. Every stringer strings a bit different and every machine is not perfectly adjusted. But as long as you stay consistent within your method, you will exactly know what results you get.